Hey Greenhouse kids, I am Nick. I am not Brittany. Today is Mother's Day, and because Brittany is a mother, I'm deciding to give her a day off and share today's story with you. It's not just Mother's Day. Today is the 5th Sunday of Easter and a windy day. And these 5 weeks of Easter, we've been learning stories about people learning to know Jesus, coming to know Jesus in new ways. The first Sunday, we learned about people who were coming to know Jesus in his absence, when he wasn't there anymore. How do we know him now? Then we learned about people knowing Jesus in the breaking of bread. How do we know him in a new way when we're together? Then we learned about people learning to know Jesus in their doubts. Is it possible for me to know Jesus if I'm having a hard time believing? And today we're continuing in that. And this time we followed the disciples, who were all, most of them were fishermen. That's a thing that a lot of people did back then to make money. They just fished. So they decided to spend the night on the Sea of Galilee. They fished all night. They love fishing. They felt at home in the boats. It was like their place. They felt comfortable. And even though they spent all night there and they were having a good time, they weren't catching any fish. Like not even one single fish. And you know what? I've been playing a lot of Animal Crossing in quarantine, and I can tell you I know a little bit about not having a good time fishing. It's a thing that people deal with. So they didn't catch any fish all night. And then in the morning, as they're looking at the night sky and it's starting to turn from dark blue to pink, the sun's coming up, they see someone standing on the shore. You can't tell who it is at first. And this person says, "Hey, you caught any fish today?" And they're like, No, we have not even one fish." And he says, "Why don't you try throwing your nets on the other side of the fish? I'm sorry, other side of the boat." And they're like, "Who is this guy? Does he think we didn't try that? I mean, we know what we're doing. We don't just fish on one side of the boat." But then, they're probably thinking, well, we might as well try it. We're not having any luck. What's it gonna hurt? So they decided to go ahead and throw the net on the other side of the boat. And then, you know what happened? So many fish. I mean, it was like they were just swimming into the net and they were just scooping up all these fish. It was so many fish. And at that point, you can just imagine like someone thinking, this feels a little familiar. I feel like I've been in a situation like this before. And John looks over and he says, "I know who that person is. That's Jesus." And they're seeing that it's Jesus. And Peter, I really like Peter. He's kind of nuts. He doesn't even think about what he's doing. He just jumps in the water and starts swimming to Jesus because he's so happy to see him. And they all decide to go ashore, and they have so much fish that doesn't even fit in the boat. It's gonna sink the boat. So they're just like dragging the fish behind them. And they get there, and he's got a nice little setup there, and they bring some of the fresh fish they just caught, and they sit down for a lovely meal. They decide to have breakfast together. You might be thinking, wait, breakfast? They're having fish for breakfast? This is a different time. People did things differently. It's a different part of the world. Some people still have fish for breakfast today. There are people who think it's weird that we eat eggs for breakfast. Yeah, there are places in the world where they don't do that. They think that's weird. So anyway, they're having a nice breakfast. And Jesus asks Peter, he says, "Do you love me?" And Peter says, "Yes, of course I do." And Jesus says, "Then feed my lambs." And he looks at him again and he says, "Do you love me?" And he says, "Yes." Jesus looks at him again and he says, "Do you love me?" And you can just imagine, I wonder what it'd be like for Peter to be in a situation like this. Like, is he getting annoyed? Does he feel like he knows what's going on? getting asked the same question 3 times in a row. And Peter says, yes, you know that I love you. I imagine Peter being like really like animated, like really dramatic. Like, yes, you know that I love you. And Jesus says, feed my sheep. And I wonder why Jesus asked him 3 times. Maybe he knew how much Peter loved him, and he wanted to ask him, he wanted to hear him say it 3 times because he knew he really meant it, and he wanted everybody to hear it. Maybe he asked him 3 times just because he liked hearing Peter say yes. So then they got up after they ate, and Jesus said, follow me. And they got up and they walked and they talked along the shore. And then Jesus was gone. That was the last time Peter and the other disciples saw Jesus in the flesh and blood. I wonder what your favorite part of the story was. My favorite part of the story, I think it's Peter jumping in the water. Like, he just had to go see him. He just couldn't help himself. Too excited. I wonder what it would have been like to sit down and have a peaceful meal with Jesus on the beach, watching the sunrise. That seems like it'd be a pretty special thing. I wonder how it would have felt to be there. And Jesus tells Peter to feed his lambs. I wonder what that means. And we hear a lot about shepherds, and we talk about Jesus being a shepherd because he cares for us. So I wonder what that means for Jesus to be telling Peter, now you feed the sheep. Well, who wants to do a craft? All right, kids, today is Mother's Day. So for today's craft, what do you think about making mommy like a bouquet of flowers with stuff that we have around the house? What do you think about that idea?
Yeah.
All right, let's see what we need. All right, dads and kids, pops and tots, for this craft, we are going to need the following supplies. First of all, this is what it's going to look like in the end. It's good to have, an end vision in mind so you know where you're going with this. Coffee filters, just your good old traditional diner style basket filters, none of that fancy cone stuff. Markers, washable. They have to be washable. I mean, if you're doing Sharpies with kids, I don't know what to tell you. Spray bottle with some water. No, nothing else, just water. Pipe cleaners. If you don't have pipe cleaners, something like a straw or, it's going to be this part of it. So if you need to improvise away. Strips of paper, about yay big. You're going to use this to make this. So wide enough that you can make these little strips, little cuts into it. And then optional, a nice, tasteful vase. Vase. All right, so we're each gonna need a coffee filter, like we all have right now. All right, so take this coffee filter, and it's actually a kind of paper, so you can fold it like you would with paper. So go like that. You know how to fold something in half, right? It doesn't have to be perfect because it's gonna be kind of crumpled up anyway. If you ever look at a flower, it's never totally perfect. There's always some unevenness. All right, you got it folded in half. Oh, you're one step ahead of me, man. Okay, now you fold it again. Lucas already knows this. There you go. Push it down. Okay, then you're gonna get your markers. And you're gonna color this You're gonna need like 4 of these for each flower that you're gonna make. No, actually, I'm hearing that it's actually 3. So you're gonna do 3 of these for each flower. So if you want like 4 flowers, you know, there's some math that can tell you how many to do. So color it however you want. This is gonna be flowers, so flower type colors and designs. Probably avoid, you know, stuff like skull and crossbones or like dinosaurs eating bloody things. Or actually that could be pretty cool. You do a flower however you want to make a flower from it.
Making this as vertical as I can because there's another one right here and I use stone.
All right, so now we got these all colored. You're gonna see why we needed these to be washable markers, not just because permanent markers are a complete disaster, but because, check it out.
Check it out.
Who wants to do it? Anybody? Don't want to spray?
You gotta get them real soaked.
Get them real soaked. There you go. There you go. You really just get right in there. Get right in there, boy. Yeah. That's it. Go and get the little bony guy. There you go.
Wow. Ahora eso se ve más fino.
All right, you got them good and soaked. I mean, like real soaking good, boy. Go all the way through the back. See, that ink will just go right through. So then you're gonna unfold them.
This one looks super pretty.
I know, right? Who did that one?
My mommy.
Oh, backstage help. Yeah, so you're gonna unfold them and then set them out to dry, and we'll be back to see what happens after that.
Looks so blue with poppies.
Okay, so now that these are dry, or mostly dry, you're gonna get 3 of them. Any 3, well, 3 that you want to go together. Stack them up, fold them up like you had before, but stacked. And now slice them up. I'm told that these patterns that we're cutting here are called scallops. So it's got an official name like that. Must be cool. Should come all the way around. You know, like the outer edge of a flower. What kind of flower has this kind of shape? Like a sunflower or a chrysanthemum? A mum. Mom say. Okay, we're down to our last steps here. Dads and kids, bigs and littles. So get this fella here. Give it a little snip. Right there. Now, unfold this foldy boy. And separate them. Make sure they get like some good aeration. Now, get one of these strips. Hey, get one of these strips. Slice it tons of times until you got it like this. Right? Now, take this bendy boy. Well, first you're gonna kind of roll it up fold it, roll it. Not super precise. Again, you know,
Super tiny?
stuff in nature is not always super geometrically precise.
As tiny as
That's
I
what
can.
I tell myself when there's something I'm just not good at. Take it here. Wrap this fella around like that. Okay. Then
Now what
right
do
here. Oh, hang on one second. Feed it through.
Then you
You gotta be
fold it.
careful when you're working with this still damp paper because it easily tears. All right. Now, get yourself a little flower girl. Little pro tip from the director's stage directions is to, when you
Mommy,
get
I
over
need
here,
a fork close.
bend it around, tie it, get it good and cinched, pinched, winched, crinched. Now, you got yourself a little flower baby. Now,
Need this closer.
and now, you won Mother's Day. You won. Good job.
Hi, Greenhouse kids.
This is Luisa, and we're here to do highs and lows. If you'd like to do highs and lows as a family, now's the time to do that. So we're gonna share our highs and lows, Luisa and I are. So Luisa, do you have a high this week?
I have 2 highs.
2 highs, okay.
My high is that today is Esme's birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Esme.
And my other high
Oh,
is that
that was actually yesterday, because in this video, this is tomorrow. So today is yesterday in the video. Does that make sense? That we're in tomorrow now? And today will be yesterday? That make sense? That doesn't make sense. Just keep doing what you're doing. You're doing great. What's your other high?
that we got a pool.
We got a pool. And what's your low? I think I can guess what it is.
That we don't have warm water for our pool yet.
Yeah, it's still a little bit chilly for swimming. Okay, so for all of our highs, let us bless the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
Thanks be to God. For all of our lows, let us pray to the Lord.
Lord have mercy.
Let us end with the Lord's Prayer. Do you know the Lord's Prayer yet, Luisa? We're still learning it, aren't we? Okay. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our sins, as we forgive those who sin against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Bye.
Actually, I want to use that one. Actually, I want to use that one.
All right, we're here in one of the last. Wait, is it the last step?
No.
Starting off.
All these questions that we always have. That's the movie of Small Fry.
You have to bite that. Have to.